Well, good afternoon and welcome to yet another edition of the countdown to the Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby, which is just over a week away. I'm joined by Trey Simons. Trey, first of all, thank you very, very much for joining. Looking forward to, 8 days now, isn't it?
Yeah, when count on.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Bermuda Day Half Marathon. How does it suit your running style, and have you adapted your training this year to capitalize on the strengths? Because you haven't run for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, I haven't run since college. I graduated 2019, so
Yeah.
it's been about 5-6 years.
Right.
And in college, I was predominantly running mid-distance, so 800, 1500. I did have a cross-country season. So this is completely new to me, the road running scene, and I'm gearing my training specifically for longer distances, the 10K half marathon. So it's been an interesting experience these last couple months, but I feel like my body is adapting, and I have so much more of a ceiling to go to.
Yeah. Real quick, a side note, how have you planned out preparing for this race? Because obviously, like you said, you were running in college before, but now you're kind of, an alone runner. Have you been working with someone to try and figure out what distance you need to put in to prepare and what, all that type of stuff?
No, I'm self-coached. I'm self-coached. I've had the experience of having a lot of good coaches over the years, so I took a little bit from each one, and also doing my own due diligence. So yeah, I'm self-coached. So I'm kind of a little bit of tinkering and just seeing what works best for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. We know you know what's best for you. Bermuda Day, the atmosphere is truly unique. I know you haven't been involved in it in 6 years, but how will you harness that energy of the crowds and the significance of the day itself to fuel your performance during the race? Because, probably back when you were in school, the crowd gets to a runner and they try to do something that they wouldn't normally do. Now you're a little older, a little more mature. But how do you plan to utilize that strength that you get from people on the side and all that cheering?
Yeah, that's a good question. The crowd could be like a double-edged sword, and I look at the crowd like how most people would probably view fire, right? Like you can have a fire and you could use it to heat up your food and heat up your house, but it can also burn your house down.
Yeah.
So it really comes with experience and sticking to your game plan and sticking to your race. But it gets so easy to get caught up in seeing someone that you may know and you might get a burst of energy, but you kind of want to be present and be patient and work within what you prepare for.
Sure. We've seen a lot of different athletes, not just in this race, but athletes that just get excited at a moment and then it all
Yeah.
game plan gets through.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a good way of putting it. I mean, you use the fire to heat up your food and do all those things, but it also can burn the house down. But with the unpredictability of the weather, often playing a factor. You're coming out of the East End this year. You within the first 3 miles, you've got that big open causeway that you run. That's almost a mile in itself, or maybe 2 mile and a half that you're running in, and you could be in either a strong headwind or tailwind or crosswind. It's just one of those things. But the potential heat, humidity, the wind. How might that influence your pace or even your race strategy going in?
Yeah, so the last time I ran this event was close to a decade ago, maybe. It was a
Hmm.
long time ago. So when I ran it, it wasn't the switching. So I haven't run from St. George's
Right.
ever. So this is a new experience for me as well. But it all goes to mental preparation, and you have to prepare for these things in training. It's not something that you kind of just wake up and want to put your body through.
Right.
So I've tailored my training specifically to kind of deal with this weather. I mean, I train in it, I live in it. So you just want to do the best to simulate those conditions. And for me, I usually do it on my long runs on the weekends. So
Hmm.
you have time, to get up and run at a time where it's normally run during the race.
Mm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And that's also a good thing. It's just that later on in May, the weather gets a lot hotter.
Yeah, it gets a lot hotter, but it's a mental thing. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
when I ran in Philly um, last year in November, uh,
Right.
the weather was, the race started at 7 a.m. and the weather was, I think, just under 30 degrees. So I couldn't prepare for that, but I knew mentally going into it, I may
Right.
have to deal with that. So it was a mental thing as well for
Sure.
me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, looking back at previous Bermuda Day half marathons, is there a particular moment or a memory that stands out as especially meaningful or challenging? And what did you learn from that experience?
For me, I'm not particularly well seasoned with the Bermuda Day half marathon, but for me, in terms of just the experience on the day, I just remember as a kid watching Kevin Smith, Jay Donald, Terrence Armstrong,
Hmm.
those guys battling it out, and it motivated me from a youngster to want to be a part of this event.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. One thing about being in the local community of running, and especially on the day, it's incredibly supportive. How much does that support mean to you as you compete in the iconic race? Because everybody that gets on that start line, regardless of some people have, I just want to finish. That's my victory. I want
Mhm.
to be first. That is the victory.
Yeah.
But how does that set you up for to encourage you and keep you going?
Right. And that's one of the most amazing things about these road races, especially half marathons and marathons, because it gets in the hundreds to thousands of people. And it's like less than 1% of people are in the race to actually win.
Hmm.
Most people have their own personal goals.
Yeah.
They want to beat their personal best, or they just want to finish to get it off the bucket list. Even if you look at the international marathons and stuff, it may be, 30, 40,000 people, but only maybe three East Africans are really in contention or really winning
Right.
the race, right?
Right.
For me, um, you know, I have goals. I know where my training's at. And whether people are in front of me or behind me, I'm going to go out there and execute my game plan going into the race.
Mm,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, yeah. Um, as I guess from years going by, you would be considered a contender, definitely, right from the start line, because you're getting on the start line. Um, how do you manage that added pressure, and do you put added pressure on yourself? I know you just talked about you set yourself goals, but do you feel or do you feel any added pressure, or how how are you managing that pressure?
Yeah, for me, this isn't pressure. I mean, with my life experiences, this isn't pressure. I mean, I chose to get back into running after like a 6 year layoff,
Hmm.
and this is all fun to me. I enjoy running. I'm glad that I'm back. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to even be here and being considered as a contender. With just started training, I think last August. So I'm extremely grateful for that. So everything is a win for me.
Yeah. Are
Yeah.
you? Did you surprise yourself when you got back in it? Obviously, you felt good to get back in it, and
Mhm.
it's something you decided to do. But were you surprised how quickly you were able to get into some sort of shape and do some respectable times?
Yes and no. I always, even though I wasn't running and competing, I always stayed in shape. I worked out every day, whether it was going to the gym or boxing or something. I was always doing something.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think my first race was Labor Day, in
Right.
last year, Labor Day. And
Mm-hmm.
I'd only ran for a couple of weeks. And I was like, okay, I had a friend that wanted to get into running as well. And I was like, okay, I could probably go out there and run maybe 17 minutes or something. And
Right.
I went out there and broke 16 minutes. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay, well, well, I guess it's back. And it kind of just built on top of that. Yeah.
But that's just the thing. You get out there, you start enjoying it, and you go
Yeah.
faster, and you don't realize how fast you are going until you go across the line. But
Yeah. But
beyond
I
the
guess it
competition
was,
itself,
yeah.
you ran this race as a junior. You've run it a couple of times as in the main half marathon. But what does Bermuda Day, the half marathon itself, as a Bermudian athlete, what does that mean to you personally? And also, what is your message? That you hope to your performance sends to young runners across the island.
Yeah, that's a good question. It means a lot to me. Staying in Somerset, heading to Front Street first thing in the morning. But I always ran it from a young age. So I think we started on Front Street.
On Front Street, yes.
Yeah, so kind of getting that experience because that's where most of the crowd is. So being young and running through the crowd there. But this event is very special. It's like the cup match for runners, right? Yeah, it's a big event. Yeah, it's a big event, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it. And a message to those young kids: it's never really too late. If you got it, you got it, and just keep working on it. And like me, I had a long layoff, but when God gives you a gift, only He could take it away. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah. So Georgia is a long way to get to. Well, you probably had to go even further when you've been abroad running.
But, yeah. That's the only time when I get down there is when I'm going abroad. So, so it's going to be very interesting. Coming out, coming out of East.
At least before 12 o'clock, your day of running is over.
Yeah.
Well, Trey. To be honest, I was really, really pleased to see you back in action.
Thank you.
Some years ago, I always admired how you used to handle yourself in races and just settled down and done what you had to do. And I was really excited to see you back. And I know I'm not the only one excited to see you back. I know somewhere along the way you're going to hear that warrior cry. And from that one and only voice. So.
Yeah, Cal Simons.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. It means a
Yeah.
lot.
But good. I want to wish you all the best next Friday.
Thank you.
Just enjoy the day, man.
Yeah.
Have fun at it. Like you said, if you're in the front, wherever you are, stick to your goals. Do what you gotta do, and just be happy along that route, man.
Yeah.
Have fun with it and enjoy it, and then hopefully, next year you could entertain coming out of your hometown.
Yeah, coming out of Gord's Parish. We'll be coming out of Gord's Parish.
Well, you are coming out of Gord's Parish this time around.
I don't know about that one. I don't know.
Well, that's probably one thing we disagree with, but guess what? It's all good because Bermuda's Gord's Parish, to tell you the truth. We are so fortunate to be on this island and being able to do what we can do and live the way we live. But come next Friday, all the best, have fun, and we'll talk to you after, right?
All right, sounds good.
Okay, enjoy the rest of your day, buddy.
All right, you as well. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye.